and let us all do we can to build a better future.
AOC, the representative of the 14th district, was giving her response in regards to how Twitter was handling the Hunter Biden laptop story. And so with this response, it is absolutely embarrassing. Her acting skills, her negligence and dereliction of duty, especially when so much has come to light in regards to how Twitter has been silencing and censoring so many content creators, so many profiles, so many videos, so many articles in regards that were speaking out against the neoliberal narrative. Everything ranging from COVID to the election to, yes, even this thing with the Hunter Biden laptop story. And this video caught my attention. And I think it's only fair that we do bring this up to share with all of you. And it has to deal with AOC making a claim that this is all for show, that this is all an act. And I, for one, have to say, AOC, when are you done acting? When are you done acting like a clown? Shout out to Constituent 808. Hang on, folks. This one's going to be a doozy. You want to see some acting? Here's some acting.
A Washington Post article now warning about Hunter Biden laptop disinformation, the guy who leaked it. Here's the deal. Before I even get into my questions, I think that the story here with the Washington Post reporting is that what they're saying right here, when the New York Post first reported in October 2020 that it had obtained contents of a laptop computer allegedly owned by Joe Biden's son Hunter, there was an immediate roadblock faced by other news outlets that hoped to corroborate reporting, as many did. The newspaper wasn't sharing what it obtained.
Actually, here's the thing. The newspaper was giving full information in regards towards that story. However, as soon as they began publishing that story, what AOC is neglecting to inform all of you is that the FBI, as well as other agencies and individuals, went to the heads of Facebook and Twitter, indicating that they wanted certain stories silenced, not shared, or available for the public to see on those two platforms. And corporate media lifted up Olympus to silence that story. If we look back to 2020, and let's have democracy in the chat, type 1 if you were able to share that story on social media. Type 1 if you didn't have any problems posting it on your Twitter account or your Facebook account. Type 2 if it was impossible, you were being locked out of your account, you were being censored, you were being shadow banned, because that was happening to a lot of people that was sharing that article from the New York Post. Now, the thing is, as soon as the New York Post shared that story, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, all of those media outlets were saying that it was fake news, fake information. It was a story that had no truth to it whatsoever. There were supposedly 50 intelligence agents, CIA intelligence agents, who were trying to put their credibility on the line and say, oh, yeah, the story is classic Russian disinformation.
New York Post had this alleged information and was trying to...
actually, factual information, not alleged. Again, I know you're going to bat for the Democratic Party, and you said that Biden has exceeded expectations. However, again, the truth is the Hunter Biden laptop story was real. It was correct. The New York Post did its due diligence. It's the rest of the establishment corporate media that did everything they could to control the narrative, also with the help of Twitter and Facebook, to silence that story. And again, it impacted the election. So, AOC, what are you so angry about? Hang on, folks. You're going to find out why AOC is so angry.
Publish it without any corroboration, without any backup information. They were trying to publish it to Twitter. Twitter did not let them. And now
Twitter was informed and was following orders from the FBI and other government agencies to not share a factual story.
Oh, they were upset. I believe that political operatives who sought to inject explosive disinformation with the Washington Post couldn't get away with it. And now they're livid. And they want the ability to do that again.
Okay, no. Again, the story was not false, AOC. The Hunter Biden laptop story is based in facts. Hunter Biden clearly has some issues that he and his family should, get that squared away on. But it was a scandal and a story that the American people needed to know about. And when Donald Trump was on a debate stage bringing it up, everyone was dismissing it. But it turns out it was true. And me saying this is not an endorsement of Trump, because the way I look at it, both Democratic lawmakers and Republican lawmakers are scumbags. And AOC here, AOC, as you can see right here, all right, she is doing everything she can to vilify her other opponents in the political spectrum by saying, oh, they want to control the narrative. They want to do this. They want to do that. That's what the Democratic Party has been doing for years on social media. Hardlens Media has been censored and silenced 7 times on YouTube. Now, thankfully, thanks to you guys in our audience and towards our allies in the independent media community, we were able to successfully fight back what YouTube was doing to us. But it isn't just only an algorithm. There are people in positions of power in Washington, D.C., with other agents that want to do everything they can to silence anything that will go outside the neoliberal corporate narrative.
They want the ability to inject this again. So they've dragged a social media platform here in Congress. They're weaponizing the use of this committee so that they can do it again.
No, what they're doing, and look, here's the thing. These Republican lawmakers, if they were in the same position as the Democratic lawmakers during the height of the Trump presidency, when the Democrats had a lot of influence, again, over the at least former heads of Twitter and, of course, over the Zuck at Facebook, believe you me, the Republican Party would be acting the exact same way. Both parties are pro-censorship. Both parties want to control the narrative. But I think it's very important that we highlight just really what kind of mess was happening here at Twitter. And plus, on top of that, AOC, I'm going to rewind that. You have to be at that committee because that's your freaking job. Now, a lot of you House representatives live a very lavish and successful lifestyle. You're living your best lives. You got a 6-figure salary, gold-plated healthcare, and other social benefits. Do your work and quit complaining that you got to work, because that's what it sounds like here, AOC. You're complaining, but you're putting on a great show. You're just missing your little gospel charm, though.
And they want the ability to do that again. They want the ability to inject this again. So they've dragged a social media platform here in Congress. They're weaponizing the use of this committee so that they can do it again. A whole hearing about a 24-hour hiccup in a right-wing political operation. That is why we are here right now. And it is...
No, technically, you all are here right now to address the fact that Twitter, as a platform, was allowing abusive material that was exploiting young people. The fact that Twitter was systematically silencing libertarians, conservatives, progressives, AOC, activists, organizers, anyone that was calling out the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, anyone that was calling out what was going on with COVID, anyone that was calling out the regime change wars that we're involved in, anyone that was calling out the fact that we have, again, legalized bribery in the United States, anyone that was calling out the fact that we live in a system in which our politicians have absolute control and influence of what the American people can see and hear. And AOC is upset because she's calling it a right-wing operation. But the real truth is this is a corporate operation in which, again, the American people should be paying attention to this. Everything that you see on social media is being controlled. And they want to tighten their control on it because they believe you, the American people, are too stupid to figure things out on your own. Look at what they did with that Hunter Biden laptop story. But that's just one example. Don't forget, if we just go back to the early 2000s, all of the media was stating that it was a fact that there were WMDs in Iraq. And how did that turn out? This isn't the first time information was silenced and suppressed to the American people.
It's just an abuse of public resources, an abuse of public time. We could be talking about healthcare. We could be talking about bringing down the cost of...
So force the vote.
Prescription drugs. We could be talking about abortion rights.
Force the vote. And again, abortion rights that died under the Biden-Harris administration. But you had plenty of time to do a fake protest and get fake arrested.
Civil rights, voting rights. But instead, we're talking about Hunter Biden's half-fake laptops.
Half fake. That's... What kind of statement is that, AOC? Half fake. Hold on. Let's rewind that so y'all can hear it again.
Prescription drugs. We could be talking about abortion rights, civil rights, voting rights, but instead we're talking about Hunter Biden's half-fake laptop story. I mean, this is an embarrassment, but I'll go into it. Ms. Navaroli, let's talk about something real.
Oh, we're going to
I'd
talk
like
about
to show
something
you
real.
a tweet posted by...
Now, she wants to show a tweet, and we will play that. But let's be very clear here. The story is real. The story is very, very true. None of it was fake. I played this video before, and I want to play it for all of you in its full entirety because all of you need to see firsthand, again, just what the media did about this quote-unquote half-fake story, AOC. Here. Shout out to Matt Orfalea. If you're not following him on Twitter, please do so.
Incriminating evidence allegedly found on a laptop belonging to Biden.
Some sort of Russian disinformation campaign effort.
One eternity later.
Biden emails finally authenticated according to the New York Times.
AOC, that's not the New York Post. That's the New York Times, your favorite newspaper.
It's rewind time.
It's a lie.
Altered or fake, unverified emails.
The story did not quite land due to the lack of verification.
Listen.
Can't be verified.
What can't be verified?
The laptop.
Why do you say that?
Well, because it can't be verified.
I don't even want to report this. This is one of the most powerful families in Washington.
Liz,
I'm a journalist.
Okay, I would love
She's a journalist.
if you guys would start doing that verification.
no, we're not going to do your work for you.
It's a journalist's
Contrary.
job.
Not anymore.
For all we know, these emails are made up.
Not really stories, just pure distractions. No serious journalist should fall for it.
It's a journalist's
Contrary
job
to what
to
President-
find out if this is verified.
The bottom line is we cannot confirm the story.
Experts say the emails cannot be authenticated.
The mainstream media is not reporting on this story because we can't authenticate this material.
The Hunter Biden laptop material is genuine.
This is a classic example of the right-wing media machine.
It just lacks credibility. The fact that it appeared in the New York Post,
the only place low enough to put this orphan bastard story in print.
Obvious disinformation.
it is
I feel so sorry for orphan bastards. Orphan bastard story. Hey, buddy, again, it's true. It's real.
So obviously, a Russian operation.
So obviously disinformation.
So obviously a Russian plot. Tell me why it's so obviously a Russian plot to you.
This is just classic textbook Soviet Russian tradecraft at work.
Right, exactly. And this is classic, very classic Russian disinformation tactic.
Your classic disinformation campaign.
We shouldn't look at it as anything other than a Russian disinformation operation.
Known Kremlin disinformation.
Russians would be my number one guess.
obviously Russia.
Russian disinformation
Bring it on, Russia. Wolverines for life.
operation.
Russian disinformation.
Pushing Russian disinformation.
It does bear the hallmarks of Russian disinformation.
Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinfo.
Hunter Biden's laptop looks like it's tied to Vladimir Putin in Moscow.
Is that laptop yours?
I don't know. I truly...
You don't know.
The serious answer is that I truly do not know the answer to that.
Did you leave a laptop with a repairman
Not
in
that I
Wilmington?
remember.
Not that you remember.
No. I truly don't know.
Are you missing a laptop?
Not that I know of.
What?
This whole operation looks right out of the Kremlin playbook.
The playbook of Russian disinformation.
Russian disinformation put into the haystack.
Russian disinfo.
Sounds like bullshit. I mean, who takes a laptop with their most personal information, drops it off, and never comes back for it?
That guy. And all that nose candy that he has.
You read the book and you'll realize that I wasn't keeping tabs on possessions very well for about a 4-year period of time.
A Russian disinformation campaign.
Disinformation from the Russians. Putin is trying very hard to spread disinformation about Joe Biden.
The Biden campaign says this is Russian disinformation.
There's overwhelming evidence that the Russians are engaged.
It's a Russian plan.
Russian disinformation.
Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
So could have been yours.
Of course, certainly.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
History will expose you all as fools and useful idiots for the Russians. The idiocy, the sheer idiocy.
50 former intelligence officials signed on to a letter yesterday saying that the New York Post story about Hunter Biden's emails has all of the classic earmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Russia, Giuliani.
Don't trust anything that he's telling you. This is Russian disinformation.
Russian disinformation campaign.
Russian disinformation.
Russian disinformation campaign. Russian disinformation meant to harm our democracy.
Disinformation by the Russians.
The fruits of a foreign intelligence operation.
Part of that bigger Russian disinformation effort.
A Russian intelligence operation.
Connected to an ongoing Russian disinformation effort.
Linked to a foreign intelligence operation.
Connected to an ongoing Russian disinformation effort.
Tied to an ongoing Russian disinformation effort.
Connected to a Russian disinformation campaign.
Linked to a foreign intelligence operation.
Likely coming from Russian intelligence.
To people familiar with the matter told NBC News.
We now know that Russian disinformation or foreign disinformation or even campaign disinformation period is as dangerous to our democracy as anything exposed in these emails.
AOC, your thoughts on the failure of corporate media? That's a conversation I'd like to have. Maybe she'd like to share her opinions on it. So let's go ahead and pull up this other video too, where AOC is once again calling into question that there's maybe shadowy organizations trying to sign. After seeing all of that, here's again from the recount. Rebuting claims federal law enforcement uniquely censored Hunter Biden laptop stories. Representative AOC ticks through the Trump administration officials who previously backed similar efforts. Let's talk about it.
Trying to insinuate that there is something scandalous, federal agency outreach to social media platforms and other organizations such as Twitter. The insinuation here is that in the FBI and other agencies reaching out to Twitter, that there's something nefarious about this, that this was some sort of partisan weaponization or attempt to intimidate. But we actually have quite a documented history of representatives from the Trump administration hailing the progress that the government had made in working with companies like Twitter to counter foreign influence operations and other areas of concern. In early March 2020, right before the Super Tuesday primary election, several Trump administration officials, including Mike Pompeo, Bill Barr, Chad Wolf, and acting director of national intelligence, Richard Grenell, issued a statement praising the government's cooperation with the private sector to fend off foreign interference and said that relationship was, quote, stronger than it's ever been.
So real quick, too, while we are live, I've been looking at the live stream chat right now. And during this point when I was playing the Matt Orfalea video, I've been trying to tweet out that we are live, and it's still not working. Now, I'm not saying anything. Maybe we might have pissed off a certain few people here and there. But for some reason, I can't tweet out that Hard Lens Media is live. Now, I don't know if all of you are dealing with that. Maybe this situation will change. I will definitely put an update in the comment section below when I clip this video. But it's a little fascinating that this is happening right now. So again, AOC, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Continue on.
Issued a statement praising the government's cooperation with the private sector to fend off foreign interference and said that relationship was, quote, stronger than it's ever been. This was around this whole time where there's this, grievance around this. And listen to what DHS Secretary Chad Wolf had to say just weeks before the 2020 presidential election. We now have direct lines of communication with tech and social media companies and election officials so that both parties can seamlessly take action against false information spreading online. I would argue that this information from the Trump administration would say that they would support your decision in temporarily suspending this disinformation that seemed to be coming out from the New York Post. So
it's interesting. Interesting that all this is taking place right now, even as we speak. But again, it's interesting because, first of all, I've said this on the show, that both parties will do everything they can to control the narrative. Both parties, as we have seen before, have helped censor and silence and suppress So many people. It's just not the Democrats. It's just not the Republicans. It's both parties. But mostly it's at behest of their corporate donors. They want to silence speech. They want to silence anyone that's going to be critical of them, of what they do. And you should be concerned. Now, AOC seems to be dismissive about all of this. She clearly has her own perspective in this madness. But it makes no sense that there are people who are not concerned about the silence of so many platforms, independent voices, and so much more. But at this hearing, Yoel Ross basically said unrestricted free speech paradoxically results in less speech, not more. If you don't believe me that the people are trying to do everything they can to silence your voice, it's something that Matt Orfila tweeted out. War is peace, words are violence, and free speech is less speech. And here's, again, Mr. Ross's statement. Here, let's all witness firsthand what they want to do to free speech. AOC, you must be on board with this 100%, right?
Again and again, we saw the speech of a small number of abusive users drive away countless others. Unrestricted free speech, paradoxically, results in less speech, not
What? Here, let's play that again.
away countless others. Unrestricted free speech, paradoxically, results in less speech, not more. And it was our job in Trust and Safety to try to strike an appropriate balance. But the importance of this work goes far beyond Twitter's business prospects and into the realm of national security. In 2017, I led the team at Twitter that uncovered significant interference in an American election by agents of the Russian government.
Which again is fake and false news, and he's giving a fake and false statement in front of Congress because he knows that there's Democratic lawmakers that will like what he's saying because he's standing up against Russia. There was an article that I read just a few weeks ago that went into full account in regards to the fact that it wasn't Russian bots that brought down Hillary Clinton's campaign. It was Hillary Clinton's piss poor management that brought down her campaign, and the fact that she was a corporate sellout.
Their mission was to stoke culture war issues on social media to try to further divide Americans. My team and I exposed hundreds of thousands of these accounts from Russia, but also from Iran, China, and beyond.
Oh, so it's everybody. It's George Bush Jr.'s new axis of evil. Russia, China, North Korea, Iran. Even though the United States does coups and regime change wars and economic sanctions that causes political instability in countries all across the world. But it's only Russia, folks. It's only Russia. It's only Russia.
It's a concern with these foreign interference campaigns that informed Twitter's approach to the Hunter Biden laptop story.
So, in other words, they acted out of emotion, not logic. They acted out of fear.
In 2020, Twitter noticed activity related to the laptop that, at first glance, bore a lot of similarities to the 2016 Russian hack and leak operation targeting the DNC.
Again, they can't let 2016 go. No one can ever let the fact go that Hillary Clinton was a terrible candidate. No one was going to support her. Everyone was well aware of the fact that the Democratic Party was committing election fraud that denied Bernie Sanders the nomination. And that there was a good possibility that he could outperform Hillary Clinton's campaign. Russia had nothing to do with Clinton's failures. All of it was on Hillary Clinton and her terrible team. That's how she lost.
And we had to decide what to do. And in that moment, with limited information, Twitter made a mistake. Under the distribution of hack
Purposely, they did it on purpose because they were given orders by the FBI, including Facebook, because yes, there's that interview Joe Rogan did with the Zuck. I mean, the sauce is already out there, buddy.
Material policy, the company decided to prevent links to the New York Post stories about the laptop from being shared across the service. I've been clear that in my judgment at the time, Twitter should not have taken action to block the New York Post's reporting. And just 24 hours after doing so, the company acknowledged its error. But the decisions here aren't straightforward, and hindsight is 2020. It isn't obvious what the right response is to a suspected but not confirmed cyber attack by another government on a presidential election. I believe Twitter erred in this case because we wanted to avoid repeating the mistakes of 2016.
Now, real quick, there's going to be people who will say that Twitter is a private platform, and I get it. They are a private company, right? I understand. They're not a freaking publisher, though. So, in other words, if they're going to be dictating what can be published, that means there's a whole other set of rules in which Twitter is going to have to start implementing, because they are not a publisher. They're just a platform in which people can speak their minds and share their opinions, like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Rockfin, Odyssey, Rumble, Twitch, etc., etc., etc. They're not publishers. And this is why, again, all social media should, again, be available for the public, should be publicly owned.
And so the basic job of trust and safety is to try to strike this balance between the harms of restricting too much speech and the dangers of doing too little. I'll be the first to admit that we didn't always get it right. Even rare mistakes add up when you're carrying out content moderation at the scale of hundreds of millions of unique posts per day. While I was head of trust and safety at Twitter, I strove to do this work with impartiality.
This is the face. That's the jagoff that helped silence so many libertarians, progressives, and activists, anyone that was stepping outside the line. Those are the people. But see, AOC was all on board with that because it helped out the Democrats. And AOC is saying that this is a waste of time. So in other words, she doesn't want to really look into the fact that so many people are being censored on a large social media platform. And the fact that the previous people who were running Twitter also turned a blind eye to a lot of abusive material. I guess AOC doesn't want to go to work. I guess AOC is too tired and doesn't care. But the Hunter Biden laptop story, Twitter's censoring of so many individuals, Twitter's inability to stop bad people from exploiting innocent people, I guess that's too much of her time. But I guess when AOC is busy or when she wants to get to work or there's something she wants to do, she'll have plenty of time to do it.